is the place to be, is the place to be. Healthy NYC, healthy NYC.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Fitness Sheriff in the building, man. As y'all can see, we at the Atlas Network with my guy here, Kareem Kfuri. If y'all don't know, anything about him or want to get to know some more stuff, this is the point of us sitting down and talking, man, so he could explain to y'all, what he's been doing as far as his business, how he got started, how long he's been in the game, all the grind it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. So you want to just, talk to the people a little bit more about the Atlas Network?
Sure, absolutely. My name's Kerim Kfuri, President and CEO of the Atlas Network. Basically, we're a global supply chain solutions company. And what does that mean? It means that the supply chain is the mechanism by which the global economy works. Okay. It basically makes sure that consumers get what they need when they need it at a price that makes sense. Okay. And that is connecting continents. It's a mixture of suppliers, quality control, shipping, logistics, customs clearance, delivery, warehousing, fulfillment, and back again.
Okay.
So it's a pretty complicated kind of dance, if you want to say, to ensure that the global economy moves forward. And for more than 20 years, my company, the Atlas Network, helps small to mid-sized businesses, even large businesses, fix their supply chains, build their supply chains, manage their supply chains. And outside of running the Atlas Network, I do a lot of thought leadership.
Okay.
I speak on a lot of stages. I've written some books and, on the topic and so forth, do some television work. And it's all with the idea of really trying to get this concept out into the world. Because when we had the pandemic a few years ago, and now even with trade wars and tariffs, we all hear about tariffs, people want to understand why that's happening and, more importantly, why it matters to them. So, I've been doing this for a long, long time and have learned the trials and tribulations, have been in the trenches on it.
100%.
And so I'm in a position to be able to discuss it and impart that knowledge. So that's what I really look to do these days when I'm not running this company of 2,000 suppliers and connecting the dots globally.
100%, man. Let's get into, how you got started. Let's go back to the early days of your life, man. Like, what was it like at home, school, and growing up in the community?
Sure. So, I was fortunate to be the son of immigrants. Okay. And I think that that's a very important thing because it gives you this idea that the world is large. My parents came over during the Civil War from Lebanon. It was a complicated time. And in the house, we spoke French, Arabic, and English. So already off the bat, I'm coming into a scenario of going to school, identifying with some kids, not identifying with others, connecting the dots in different ways, because languages can connect people or
100%.
Actually bridge them apart. It really depends upon how you want to look at it. But I was always an entrepreneur. The Lebanese people historically have always been traders and have been, in the world of global commerce, doing trade with the ancient Egyptians, creating the alphabet that we use today. They were the Phoenicians, and the word phonetics comes from Phoenicians that created, our A to Z alphabet.
Right.
So, we kind of grew up knowing this about who we were and what we were. And so for me, it was business from the beginning. It was all about that entrepreneurial mission. Started young, selling blueberries in the neighborhood, my version of a lemonade stand, if you want to say. And then continued on doing those kinds of things through the rest of my life, whether it was in college or in master's programs and things of that nature, where I was always looking for the opportunity. I was always looking to figure out how to connect the dots that other people didn't see. Because that's true entrepreneurship. You identify a problem, and then you come up with some level of a creative solution on how you're going to solve it for people. That's faster, better, more efficient, whatever it may be.
100%.
And so, like all entrepreneurs, you try a lot of different things.
Right.
It's those kind of trials and tribulations that are the backbone of success. And that's exactly how it was with me as well, until I landed on the Atlas Network, which was trying to solve these challenges that exist in global supply chain in a unique way. And, I've been fortunate enough to continue to do it. I mean, there were a lot of roller coasters all in between, of course, but that's kind of the abbreviated version of it.
Okay. It's not easy coming from another country and getting ready to come here.
Sure.
Like, when you grow up out of the country, knowing that you come into America, you got to have that entrepreneurial spirit.
Sure.
You got to be ready to work. And the fact that you started off with the blueberries, something small from young,
Yep.
you know what I'm trying to
Yep.
say? That's where it all starts. Having
Yep.
the young kids doing the lemonade, having them, doing these little things here and there. That's where it all starts. Because then once they get to high school, college, then you're already clicking,
Yep.
and you're ready to take it to the next level. Mentorship is so important, man. And the fact that you're mentoring your young kids and they getting ready to take over your business and stuff. Are they looking to start or take over the company once you're gone?
I think in business you have to be a little careful with that, because you don't want to create this dynamic of entitlement. So what you want to do is you really want to keep your kids, or even just people that you're mentoring, in a little bit of a challenge situation. So you don't want to say, hey, because dad runs a company and so on, that you automatically have a job.
Okay.
You really don't want to do that. You want them to make their own way. They want to be successful on their own merits. So for me, I would say, the kids go to school, they do what they do, they work somewhere else for a while, they figure things out, they learn how to, make coffee and make copies, or we don't do that anymore. But the point is, what I mean by that. And then after a few years, maybe then they come back when they can show value and they learn how to be humble and modest and sort of work together as a group. So that's pretty much how I would see it. But it would be an ultimate joy to see a business become a family business,
100%.
but not like off the jump like that.
I feel like when it comes to that type of stuff, you don't want to just push it onto your kids.
That too.
You don't want to force them to get into something.
That's right.
Just because you got into it. But at the same time, you still want them to obviously follow your footsteps and stuff. But you want to give them breathing room to at least make their own decisions and see what they want to do in the world and everything. How old were you when you started the company, and what motivated you?
Sure. So I was in my mid to late 20s. I looked a lot better then. I had hair, and I don't anymore. So I know I don't look that young. But I started it then, and it was based upon what I had seen happening around me. So I was working at NASD FINRA, which is a regulatory body.
Mm-hmm.
I was learning all about like risk mitigation, how to basically control the uncontrollable in business. This was sort of my area of expertise, corporate governance. And I said, you know what? There has to be a way to apply these philosophies and these thoughts to a different industry, not just the financial markets. And at the time, Alibaba was really skyrocketing. People were using that platform all the time. And it's a great technology. Even now, I'm an ambassador of Alibaba. The problem was that there were bad actors. You'd have all these companies and groups and factories that would come on there and put up these beautiful pictures, and people would go in there like entrepreneurs, buy something. It would show up, backwards, or, 50% defect rates, and they had no protections.
Right.
So this is where it clicked in my mind. And I said, you know what? There's a business here to try to take these risk mitigation strategies and concepts and apply it to small to mid-sized businesses, or businesses who don't have an infrastructure overseas, who want to have visibility, who want to have transparency and so forth, and need that insurance policy. And that was the beginnings of the Atlas Network, to identify the problem and apply it to essentially a different industry where there weren't a lot of these kinds of solutions. And that's why the logo is there. It's basically Atlas holding up the weight of those problems and issues on behalf of our clients so that they can sleep well at night.
100%.
And that's kind of the idea of the business.
100%. I think providing an infrastructure for some of these small businesses is so important. As we all know, infrastructure is the most important. You can't have a house unless you got a good infrastructure.
Correct.
You can't be strong in the gym unless you work your legs.
Correct.
So being able to have a strong bottom is only going to help with the middle, and then build the full house, man. So the fact that you get to provide that for businesses, man, is so important. So listen, what drives you to get up every morning to fight the fight and come into the office?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say it's a few things. One, you definitely do it for your loved ones, right? You do it for your family to be able to just provide and do that. Secondly, I would say it's a scenario of, I think, a duty or an obligation. We all come into this world and have to figure out why we're here and what we do, and how what we've learned along the way can be powerful, or assist others. And I think I found that with this, because now we're in a time where if you turn on the news, the things that we do here are being talked about every single day. global supply chain, challenges in the global economy, tariffs. How are we all going to sort of figure these things out? And there's a lot of questions around it. Luckily, I'm a person who has a lot of the answers. I've been doing it for a long time, and I've understood and learned and trained on this, and I'm able to help thousands of companies, which then ends up in turn helping thousands or even millions of employees and consumers. So I do it for them too, to be able to help the global economy and people be able to thrive and grow so that they don't make those expensive mistakes, have those bottlenecks and challenges. And then finally, the third person or third group as to why I do what I do is for myself.
Okay.
You have to have some level of an interest in what you do and in your craft. You have to want to improve within your craft and what you do to really be fulfilled, I think, in this life. And that's not just monetarily, that's just with regards to the heights that you're reaching. So I do it for myself too, if you want to call it selfishly, but I think all of us have to be a bit selfish about it, because if we're not, then what really is pushing us as individuals to move forward if there aren't some individual type of motivations and goals? So that's really why I do what I do, why I get up every morning to do this thing.
100%, because when it gets to this point in the career, as I can kind of relate to in fitness, I've been in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And people will always say, why you still come? Like, what was still motivated? It's not even about getting no attention. Not even about no type of money. This really is just what I do. This is what I love to do.
Yep.
And you can't really continue down a path of entrepreneurialism if it's not what you love to do.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? You really got to love this day in and day out, whether it's striving, whether it's not doing good. This is what you got to eat, breathe, and sleep, man. So the fact that you always have that drive to stay consistent, man, that's always important, man.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing too is that with entrepreneurship, for anybody who's out here listening, is that it's a bit of like being on your own island sometimes. You got to wake up and you got to basically be your own cheerleader. Someone asked me about this on an interview recently. They said, do you feel that being an entrepreneur is a bit lonely? Like that not a lot of people can relate or understand what you do,
100%.
except for other entrepreneurs. And I thought that was a very important question, because it definitely is a scenario of self-motivation. You have to make some tough calls sometimes.
Yep.
You have to do some things that a lot of people may not understand.
Yep.
But if you're committed to it and you believe in it, you can change minds and hearts.
100%.
And that's, I think, really, really important. And that would be an advice to any young entrepreneur coming up, to say, hey, you know what? Probably one of the hardest things you're going to face is that you may be alone in your road for a while. And you got to be okay with that too.
100%, man. So all your entrepreneurs out there, man, stay dedicated, stay focused. Can get lonely, but just keep grinding, keep working, man. So to all the entrepreneurs out there, what are some of the barriers, that you had to overcome to become a successful entrepreneur?
Well, I think the barriers that a lot of people have to overcome is preconceived notions of others. Mm-hmm. So back to that idea of sort of being on an island by yourself. You're going to do things, and maybe people in your family are going to say, oh, why are you doing that? Or, no, you should do this. No, you should do that. There's going to be a lot of naysayers. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to sit at the finish line cheering you on when you're almost there,
100%.
But not there with you on the journey, on the trek. And that's got to be okay too. So it's definitely a bit of a difficult scenario in that way, but you push on through, and you have to stay motivated, self-motivated, all the way through and through to really be able to have the highest levels of success.
100%, man. You're going to have a lot of people telling you can't. A lot of people going to be shutting you down at the door when you're trying to come through. And a lot of family and friends hating on you and doubting on you, man. But once you start getting to the finish line, then everyone wants to, I knew you could do it. Oh, this and that. But you got to just stay grounded. Like I said, whether or not it's flowing or not, or whether you still got to stay committed, stay dedicated to the grind, man. There's people out there watching you. They're watching you hustle. They're seeing how you move, even in tough situations. Yep. That's what's most important, being able to move in tough situations. So let's get into the next question, man.
Let me say one more thing too, if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
One thing I was going to say too is that the other thing that I think you really have to have is people get nervous about the idea that they don't have enough money or they don't have enough experience.
100%.
And both of those things can be overcome with passion.
Okay.
And that's something that I think a lot of people and entrepreneurs don't always understand. They get into this scenario of like what I would call analysis paralysis.
Okay.
They overthink things so much, like, I just don't know about this stuff, so let me take a year or two to figure it out. Or I don't have enough money to do this, so let me wait until I do. No. As an entrepreneur, the most successful ones are the ones that just do it. You know, Nike got the slogan right. Just do it.
Yep.
You go out there, you throw a lot of things against the wall. Some things are going to stick, some things aren't going to stick. But if you're sitting around trying to figure out if you're even going to try to throw something against the wall, you never go anywhere.
Okay.
Time shifts, things get, difficult, and the whole environment may be different than where you started. So that's the other thing I would say is don't be afraid to just kind of fail. It's super important.
100%, 100%. So, can you tell the people about some of your companies or other ventures before Atlas?
Sure. So, and during, I do a lot. I do Atlas and I do other things as well. But I started off with a luxury golf company early on, which was basically called Sweetwood Golf. It now exists today, called Golf Tribute, and it's all these handmade wood shafted putters, leather bags, really, really beautiful. Because I said to myself, this is an area where you have a luxury sport like golf, but there aren't a lot of luxury brands.
Right.
So it was kind of a nice connective point. So we still have that company today called Golf Tribute that does really well. We do a lot of tournaments and charities and benefits and things like that, raise awareness. I also have a timepiece company. I love watches. It's called Core Timepieces. I'm wearing one right now. This is one of our watches here.
Okay, that's nice.
And I love that because I think that that's a lost art. And there's a huge industry kind of resurgence of timepieces. It's one of the few things that a lot of men and women can wear as an accessory that just you can wear all the time and in many different occasions.
Mm-hmm.
So coretimepieces.com is a thing that we have. And then outside of that, I've got a recording studio in LA because I'm a music guy.
Okay.
It's right on Sunset. It's called Crab Tracks. We've had it for about 3 years. We've got a digital media company. We do a lot of different kinds of stuff. But the nice thing about it is that all of these businesses are supported and grow and thrive because of the Atlas network.
100%.
This huge network of 2,000 suppliers, thousands of customers, millions of consumers, where we're able to then find ways to then make more benefit and find ways to make more and new innovative markets. So we continue to grow and develop in all of those ways too.
100%, man. That's so important, man, for real. So what is so special about Atlas that the world needs to know?
I think that the world needs to know, especially entrepreneurs, that sometimes your best decision is to not do it yourself. Yeah. And that's really difficult because entrepreneurs want to roll up those sleeves and they want to do it all. Well, when it comes to this, if you're doing business in the global economy and you don't have an office or a team or people on the ground to watch out for your interests, you are playing with fire.
Right.
And so the Atlas Network was created to help those kinds of groups, those kinds of small to mid-sized businesses and even larger companies that don't want to do certain parts of the process and still be able to be successful. Yeah. So any entrepreneurs or small to mid-sized businesses that want to safeguard their interests, their ideas, their business and so forth in the global economy and try to look at global supply chain, outsourcing it to a group like ours or others is a really, really good option. And that's a tough thing to tell entrepreneurs because, again, entrepreneurs just want to do it all. No. I was there. I still am. I still like to do it all. Someone tells me I can't do something or I should, farm it out to someone else. My first immediate thought is no, I can do that myself. And, there's only so many hours of the day and you want to get it right. Sometimes you got to work with professionals.
That's just how entrepreneurs are, man. Just want to do it themselves, man. So look, let's get into some current events, current news.
Sure.
There's a new leader in New York City, Mondani.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about the new mayor?
I grew up in the DC area. Okay. So that's a very political area. And what I learned really early on is that politics kind of come and go, right? They really do. And there's a lot of sentiment that comes around this. And in many ways, unfortunately, it doesn't unify people, but it actually polarizes people more than anything else. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to this kind of discussion, I don't really get in too much into politics. I mean, I follow it, I understand it, I know what the impacts are of it, let's say economically or policy, maybe policy wise and so forth. But I don't really try to get too kind of swayed into that, if you want to say.
Okay.
The other reason why I think is because everybody's entitled to their opinions,
Right.
you know, and who am I to say that this person is doing a great job or not doing a great job and otherwise? I mean, I do a lot of, on-air stuff with, national TV. And oftentimes, I'll be asked about my thoughts around how the administration is doing or how, the president is doing, things like that. And my answers always are the same. I look at things from an economic standpoint.
Okay.
Is our economics going well? Is it not? Are consumers benefiting? Are they not?
Right.
Is it something that seems to be generally good from a number standpoint and so forth? Yes, no, short term, medium term, long term, because anything can have a rationale. Anything can have a rationale. Why this person did this, why they passed that law, why they did this, that, and the other. What's the impacts of this? The other part about it too is, I would say from just like a political standpoint is, and I'm not a political person, very political person, is that in our country, policy takes way too long to get passed.
Okay.
So what ends up happening is that one administration basically inherits the policies and procedures of another administration, and they don't even have time to put their own things into place because they're on the way out.
Right.
Everything just moves so slow with regards to the way our process works that it ends up being this scenario of just sort of inheriting the previous person's agenda, either fixing it or changing it, and do you have even enough runway or timeline to do that? So I don't know. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, I really can't get too deep into it,
100%. Hey, big shout out to Mondani out there, man. He did his thing. I was watching the debates, man. He held it down, young 33-year-old doing his thing, man.
Yep.
I heard he's an artist too. So I could definitely connect with him
Sure,
on that end
sure.
as far as making some music.
Sure.
And I just hope, that he does everything that he says that he was going to do, man, so we can have a better New York City, man.
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts on DEI in today's market and minority and women-owned business opportunities?
My thoughts is everybody needs a chance and everybody needs an opportunity. And I love the idea that we continue to spotlight areas of interest and areas that are developing and growing. I think it's important to do that. I do think that we need to be a little bit careful with how far you go sometimes with some of these policies and procedures, because of the fact that it starts to change from being exclusive to them being from being inclusive to start being exclusive,
right.
Because certain mandates get pushed a little bit too far. But the reality of it is that we all are human beings on this planet, and we all need to be global citizens, and we need to look at each other as brothers and sisters in the things that we do, and support each other. And part of that is having a tolerant mindset, having a very tolerant mindset about who we are and what's important to us all, and fostering that and supporting that.
100%. Big shout out to all our women out there. Big shout out to all our minority entrepreneurs out there. I'm trying to say, keep fighting, keep grinding. Anything is possible, man. Our women play such an important role.
Oh, absolutely.
And, they deserve so much respect in this world, and they're rising up to become CEOs and leaders, man, and they're showing that. So let's talk about the People's Shark, Daymond John, and what's been your experience with Daymond John over the years?
Daymond is a great man. We enjoy a lot of the same kinds of things. We have a similar wavelength and mentality about the way that life should be and the way that people should act towards each other. And I think it's why he's the People's Shark, and how business should be conducted. So I'm very fortunate to be in his circle and very fortunate to be able to learn from him. And in many ways, wherever I can help give information or knowledge the other way around too. That's where I think the most important relationships come from, where there is shared knowledge, there's shared understanding. If one side is only learning from the other, then it's unbalanced. Think about your closest friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because you do all the talking. You do some talking and you do some listening, and they do some talking and you do some listening, and you support them in certain scenarios and they support you in other scenarios, and it's this symbiotic thing.
Right.
So I have that with Daymond and with his team. And I'm fortunate to sort of be in their world and be in their ecosystem, learning as much as I can from him, from his experiences, and imparting whatever knowledge I can also give to him for it to be beneficial to him and his companies also.
100%. Big shout out to the people shark, Daymond John, man. He's my mentor. He taught me so much over the years.
Oh yeah.
Helped me grow my business. My father's his mentor. So, just hearing other people speak about him and just talk about how humble he is, and no matter how much money he got, he still gives back to the community, and he still is just such a good person, man.
Yep.
And that's why he's the people shark, Daymond John. They love him, man. So let's get into your book, man. Supply Chain, Ups and Downs. What motivated you? Oh, you got it with you.
I got it right here.
We got it right here, man.
I got to give you a copy. The copy's for you.
I definitely need a copy, man. I need to read all that, man. So what motivated you to write this?
I mean, this book had to be written because when we were in the middle of the global pandemic, what was happening in supply chain was just unbelievable. You had, used car salesmen trying to sell masks.
Wow.
You had everybody trying to, take advantage of each other in global supply chain, and a lot of misinformation, a lot of basically hot air, and not really telling the true story about what's important in global supply chain, who it impacts, why it matters, how to take advantage of it, how to not be taken advantage of in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to this book, where I wanted to do a really short read. It's like about 150 pages where I talk about the ups and downs of global supply chain, because the only consistency in this business is inconsistency.
Okay.
So it's all about learning how to be disruption proof, how to learn how to pivot, how to navigate, how to essentially operate in a very complicated space where anything and everything can go wrong. And when it does, it impacts everybody. So I enjoyed writing this book. It's for consumers, it's for students, it's for business people who want to learn more about global supply chain. I introduce a theory of supply chain socioeconomics in here, where I talk about how supply chain is like a seesaw, and how essentially the different parties that are on the seesaw, like a supplier and a consumer, have different interests, divergent interests, but that's a good thing, because that's what pushes momentum and creates a push and a pull, kind of like in tug of war, creates movement, and that's the global economy moving forward. And how in the end you either come to a level of a negotiation or a concession or an abandonment in any relationship, in supply chain or in business. I talk about things like sustainability, where we're going with this planet. Global transit and supply chain is the 7th leading cause of greenhouse gas emissions on the planet. We're only getting more and more populated. We only need more and more things. How are we going to figure this all out without destroying this planet for our kids? So sustainability is important. I talk about nearshoring, the importance of working with domestic partnerships, and closer is closer, better, who knows? And then finally, the big buzzword that everybody talks about, AI, right? I talk about artificial intelligence. I talk about why that's important for economics and for supply chain. I mean, just look at things like Amazon. We're just a little step away from fully automated trucking through Prime. You've already got the fully automated warehouses with drones and robots that are picking and packing and doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going there. We're you either know AI or you don't know AI. It's just one or the other.
100%.
So there's a lot of topics that happen in this little short book. But I love talking about this, and I love explaining it and showing it to others. And I think it's been well received. So, this one's for you.
100%, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for this, Kareem, man. I'm going to definitely read this, check this out, because there's a lot of things that you just said as far as sustainability, AI. Some of these things are so important, being in health, sustainability, growing green. And, AI is taking over, man. The AI, they're talking about making AI rap artists. They're talking about making AI everything, man. So, if you learn AI, then, you'll be able to be successful in this game. True. And take over, and you'll be able to go to the next level, man. So for all y'all, supply chain ups and downs, go check that out, man. It's only 150 pages, man. It'll definitely be a good read, man. So thank you. I appreciate this. So let's talk about some other things, man. I do a lot of work in the community, as you know, around gun and gang violence.
Yes.
What are some community groups that you work with? and and that you support?
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan and advocate of entrepreneur networks. So these are like young professional organizations, things of that nature, networking groups, associations like the Association for Supply Chain Management, which is like more educational type of groups. I do things on the university level. So I do a lot of free lectures to different universities around global supply chain and things, because that's the next generation. Those folks need to come out, know what they're doing, get that practical experience, not just everything they learned in the textbook. And then I try to do as much as I can in local communities too, especially with like children and donations. Thanksgiving's coming up, and every year my family and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Every year my family and I, after Thanksgiving, will go down to downtown Baltimore to the soup kitchen, and we'll basically hand out meals to 300 to 500 families. To do that, to teach our children and others the importance of service to others. So I think that's all really, really important, and to have a blend of those things where you're helping some education, you're helping with mentorship, you're helping in different communities. All that's important. That we're here on this planet to help each other, not just to do it all for ourselves, because no one's taking it with us. We're not taking it with us anywhere. So we might as well be able to help others.
100%, man. That's a blessing that you're teaching a lesson. No matter how successful you get, still stay humble. Don't ever forget about your community, where you came from, and the fact that you give back to the community, and you do the soup kitchens, man. That's good, man, for real. So look, Healthy NYC, I don't know if I told you about it, it's raising life expectancy to 83 by 2030. And the Healthy NYC music video has over 500,000 views. And I want to thank you for taking part and supporting it. You was in the music video.
Yeah, I saw that.
As I saw that. So what was it like when you saw yourself in the video?
Well, they say that the camera adds like 10 or 20 pounds. I may have added 50 pounds to me on that one, but no, it looked good. It looked really good. It was a great music video, and obviously for a great concept and a great idea. So I loved it, and it was definitely like a nice surprise to see that. So I wish you the best of luck with that. And it was really cool to see it.
100%, man. I appreciate that. So are there any words of advice for our youth and young adults, especially those who are looking to get ahead in life, but just need a break?
I will say that the greatest asset that you have is between your ears. It's right there. That's it. And then a little further down, right here.
100%.
Right? So it's this kind of, mind and heart scenario that nobody can really take away from you. And the ability to create and move mountains is absolutely in our hands. I mean, look at the things that we've achieved in mankind, right? Putting people on the moon, creating amazing works of art like an Amadeus Mozart, that just generations later continues to, inspire. I mean, we have the ability to do some of the most amazing things, and it really comes down to desire and creativity, and it's usually not even a matter of opportunity. It's a matter of making your own opportunity. It's a matter of, figuring out how to be successful sometimes when the deck is stacked against you. I mean, we think about in the world of boxing, right? When do these boxers do their best boxing? It's when they're in the corner, and they got to figure out how to get out, what to do. And that's what I would say. It's like there's opportunities in chaos, and the challenges are the mother of invention. So look at the obstacles that you may have in your life, whatever they may be, or the opportunities when they come about, and seize them with both arms, and embrace that and use that as motivation and fuel and fire to develop yourself, to grow yourself. And at the same time, no matter how much your parents are in your corner, yet if they are or if they aren't, or friends or anyone else, the person who is going to make you the most successful in this life, in business or in life, is going to be you. And so that is the message, I would say.
Yeah, I heard it first, man. Any opportunity y'all got, seize it, man. Seize all the opportunities you got. You're the only person who's going to back you at the end of the day, man. So let's get into the next question, man. A lot of people got their idea of what success is. How do you define success?
I define success as fulfillment. You need to feel fulfilled in your life, and that is when you are successful. And that fulfillment is could be tied to a lot of different things. Some people will try to tie fulfillment to monetary things. Others will tie it to family. Others will tie it to health, innovations, advancements in humanity, whatever it may be. I think success is fulfillment. That when you put your head down on the pillow at the end of every day, or whenever you decide to do a moment of self-reflection, that you say, I feel like I'm doing what I need to do. I feel fulfilled with what I do or who I am. That's the definition of success.
Okay, 100%, man. A lot of people think that, just because you got a bunch of cars and houses and jewelry, that's success, but it really is in everybody's eyes on, how they depict what
Absolutely.
success is.
Maybe that is fulfillment for someone. Maybe they say that's what it is for me. And that's cool too. Know what it is for you and feel good about it. No one can sit around here and say, you got to feel this way, or this is what success is. No. Success is what you deem it to be. And if you say, well, I'm successful because other people say I am, then you're not living for you. Who are you living for?
100%.
So it's all about fulfillment, I would say, and your own personal, internal idea of what that is, therefore what success is.
So y'all heard it first, man. Success is all about fulfillment, whatever makes you feel good. If you feel like, you're successful, everybody's different. Don't base your success off the next person, man. So let's get into the next question, man. What are some of the important people in your life that help you succeed?
Okay. There's a lot of people for sure, and that's a good thing to recognize that. I think that there are many people in this world who try to forget about who helped them to get to a certain place, and you should never do that.
Okay.
So for me, it starts early with, some family members that were entrepreneurial in spirit. I have an uncle who's very entrepreneurial, who always pushed for me this mentality of, if there's a mountain there, you're going to climb to the top of it. And guess what? When you get to the top of the mountain, there's going to be a bunch of other beautiful mountains that you didn't even know were there.
Right.
You want to climb to another mountain. And that it's this perpetual climb that you keep growing towards. Every plateau only gives way to the next one. You see the other ones when you're at the top of that mountaintop. So, I had some family for sure. My mom and my dad, who are very loving, caring. I have a sister who's great, who basically, keeps me grounded in many ways. My wife, for sure, who is not an entrepreneur at all, but knows, how to basically call it like it is, keeps me on the planet Earth because I spend a lot of time in the sky in my mind, outside. And then, your kids, your kids are your ultimate motivation as well, because you look around, you want to make them proud. You want to be a role model and emulate for them as well. So these are the key people I think around you that make a lot of sense. You've got good business people that look out for you too, mentors along the way that you have either good or bad experiences with, but either way they end up making you who you are as a business person.
Mm-hmm.
So it ends up being this painting, right? Think about a painting. Right? All the different colors that come about that you have to use to then have it be this cohesive picture. And that's who all those people are in your life. They're those different paint colors and brushes that you use that end up making you what you are in the end.
100%, 100%. Remember, there's a lot of people that's going to help you in this world, man. Just always make sure you remember them when you reach to that next level.
Yep.
If you use them as a stepping stone to get there, always pay your respects.
Absolutely.
Let people know, that they help you get to, where
and
you,
say
you
thank
got
you.
to, man. Say thank you. That's what's important. So look, as you know, I got Healthy NYC, trying to raise life expectancy to 83 by 2030. What is your call to action to make this a safer, healthier, and better world?
What's my call to action? My call to action is start young for sure. Sports are extremely important, and physical and mental health is very, very important, and it starts at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
We should all be promoting that in any kind of way that we can, and I think that's very, very important. I do have another project that I do, which is in Long Island, which is called The Arena.
Okay.
It's called The Arena LI, and it's basically a wrestling and taekwondo facility.
Okay.
And it's all about youth sports. And I also was invested in a large-scale basketball organization, which was out there in Long Island as well. So I'm all about the youth sports because I think that really gives us competitive spirit.
Right.
It allows us to really keep ourselves physically and mentally fit, teaches us these ideas of teamwork and camaraderie and working as a team and so on and so forth, which are so essential, especially these days when people can get so into everything being in their hands and technology
100%.
and screens and things like that. We really just got to continue to move our bodies, because that moves our minds and our hearts too.
100%. Health is wealth. That's my thing.
Yep.
We definitely way too caught up in the technology, and we need to keep moving. Need to stay exercising. There's no work or no dollar amount that's more important than your health, man.
That's true.
So stay focused. I like that you're doing all the stuff with the wrestling, stiff jab to the face. We doing boxing, man. So let's get into the next question, man. Can you give me your thoughts on philanthropy and giving back to the community?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I believe that people who are in a position to give back have a duty to do so. I absolutely believe that. I think it's just the fabric of humanity is based upon this idea.
Okay.
So when it comes to philanthropy, whenever I find something that I'm dedicated to or really interested in, I'm all in with giving my time if I can, capital if I can, resources where I can, because I know that, as we talked about before, it's sort of this compounded effect. You help one person, and that person ends up helping 5, 6 other people, and that 6 people become 100 people, and 100 become 1,000 people, 1,000 become 1,000,000 people, and it's this domino effect. You don't know when you're going to be helping the next Steve Jobs. You don't know when you're going to be helping the next, whoever it may be, who then is going to shape the lives or future or innovation for the next decades to come. So you start with this idea of philanthropy and giving back from a genuine place,
Okay.
but it ends up having a compounded effect that could help many, many more people.
100%, man. So look, last but not least, how does anyone get in touch with you, buy the book, or if they're looking to take their life to the next level?
Sure. So, I mean, for anybody who has supply chain challenges and anything that they're dealing with in global economy, the company is The Atlas Network, and it's theatlasnetwork.com. For any of the kind of philosophy and leadership type of stuff that I talk about, whether it's speaking or book or conferences, it's just KareemKfuri.com, or on all the social media platforms. And for the book, it's on Amazon or at supplychainupsanddowns.com. Those are the big places to go to for that.
All right, so look, y'all heard it first, man. Go tap in with Kareem Kfuri on all platforms. He's on Instagram, he's on Twitter, he's on TikTok, he's on everything, and go buy the book on Amazon, man. It's a good read. 150 pages, Supply Chain Ups and Downs. We're at the Atlas Network right now in Manhattan. This is the 105 Days a Summer podcast. Like I said, man, health is wealth, wealth is health, Healthy NYC. More info coming, man. We're going to do a part 2 interview a little later on, give y'all even more information on how to be successful in the game, man, and win. So like I said, man, I'm the fitness sheriff. I'm with Kareem Kfuri. Health is wealth, man. Let's get it.
NYC, Healthy NYC is the place to be, is the place to be. Healthy NYC, Healthy NYC is for you and me. Live a long life, that's my reality. 83 by 2030, that's the goal.